All right, y'all, let's talk about something real quick, because I know everybody's still stoked about the Grammys. I mean, we watched Kendrick Lamar once again break records on Grammy night. We watched Bad Bunny represent Puerto Rico and make a stand for migrants. The Grammy Awards overall felt themed around artists taking a stand and using their voices to spread the message that the methods and the tactics ICE is using is not the American way. And look, I'm a firm believer that if you have a position that allows you to speak in favor of marginalized and underrepresented groups that you identify with, and the right thing is to do so. But then you got Jelly Roll. Now, who is Jelly Roll? And I'm gonna keep it honest with y'all, man. I didn't know who the this guy was. And then I found out that he was actually making songs back in the day with Lil White. You remember Lil White, Hypnotized Minds, 3 6 Mafia, ring a bell?
Yeah, Jelly Roll to do it. I wake up and get to it. In 8 games, still my motherfucker.
Now, I've heard his name mentioned a few times. So basically, he started off rapping and he's doing country now. Kind of reminds me of somebody. Although there is a difference, and the only difference is that Post Malone used rap to get into the industry. But anyway, I've heard his name mentioned a few times, like in this lineup of performers of Kid Rock's 250 Years of Freedom celebration that Ludacris was a part of and later dropped out. Yeah, that one. I never really had a reason to talk about Jelly Roll, nor did I have a reason to look him up until now. Now, Jelly Roll had a successful night at the Grammys, winning 3 Grammys: Best Contemporary Country Album, Best Country Duo Group Performance, Best Contemporary Christian Music Performance Song. And aside from these wins, which I have no issues with, because talent is talent. If he was nominated and won, obviously he deserves it. My ignorance to his music says nothing about him as an artist. Just want to make that clear. But my critique today didn't come from his Grammy wins. It actually came from what he said at the Grammys.
I can tell you that people shouldn't care to hear my opinion, man. You know, I'm a dumb redneck. I haven't watched enough. I didn't have a phone for 18 months. I've had one for 4 months and don't have social media.
Now listen, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not a fan of people playing in my face, bro. Like, I did not have a phone for 18 months and I don't have social media, huh? I mean, look, there are better ways to say you don't want to answer a question, but hiding behind ignorance, like not having a phone or social media, is wild to me. Especially given the fact that Jelly Roll has been in the midst of multiple political photo ops and conversation, like this photo with Kristi Noem. Wait, oh, he probably didn't know he was taking a photo with one of the face cards of massive ICE deportation. I got it, gotcha. Maybe it's this photo with Trump, where he says, meeting President Trump was cool. I don't really care about any blowback. Oh, all right. It's funny how everybody feels like they gotta mention that they don't care about what people say or any blowback.
The hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all.
That's just you basically saying that you know this looks weird and you're basically talking yourself into not caring. But I digress. Maybe we could go to the time he sat in front of lawmakers to talk about fentanyl and the dangers of it.
I am here now standing as a man that wants to be a part of the solution. I brought my community down. I hurt people. I was the uneducated man in the kitchen playing chemist with drugs I knew absolutely nothing about, just like these drug dealers are doing right now when they're mixing every drug on the market with fentanyl, and they're killing the people we love.
Now look, let me say this, because if you've been following this far into the video, it means you understand constructive criticism, and you're not just a super fan thinking that this video is a takedown. So here's clarification. From what I've discovered, Jelly Roll comes off as a good dude, trying to do good. I mean, the man has changed his life, made better decisions, lost weight, and speaking in front of lawmakers isn't a gotcha moment. It's actually commendable. He's fighting for something outside of himself. But in addition, what it also does is that it proves you don't need social media to speak on issues affecting communities. He's done that, which is exactly why it's confusing that he chose not to say anything here. I mean, the man had the opportunity to either condemn or support what's happening. And sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know how I feel about it, or I'd rather not answer. People would have respected that more than pretending you're disconnected.
I hate to be the artist that's that aloof, but I've become so disconnected from what's happening. And I'm just not I grew up in a house of like insane pandemonium. And like I didn't even know politics were fucking real until I was in my mid-20s in jail. Like, that's how disconnected. When you grow up in a drug addict household, you think we like have common calls about what's happening in world politics? Like, we're just trying to find a way to survive, man.
So now it becomes no phone, no social media, tough upbringing, no dinner table political talks. Like, I don't know, man. We just cycling through the reasons why at this point. The issue isn't that he had nothing to say. It's the excuses. Honestly, to me, it just feels like it's someone who leans toward MAGA but doesn't want to publicly commit to it. Or maybe he just wants to play the fence. Or maybe it's one of those situations where it's not happening to me, so it's not my business. And that's where the hypocrisy comes. Now, the funny part is that you didn't even have to tell people what you thought about it. You not telling people what you thought about it just prompted people to come to their own conclusion, because most people have already answered that question for themselves. From the Trump photos, the Christy Nome photos, Kid Rock Festival, and then the Super Bowl comment, knowing Bad Bunny is performing. Now look, here's something I want to say. I'm not saying he has an issue with Bad Bunny, but we all know what the world sounds like right now. Maybe it's a lack of media training, but saying you want an all-country Super Bowl while Bad Bunny is performing, when you know that the Grammys, they're talking about ICE and they talking about all these different things, it feels kind of coded, man.
Oh, listen, I've been waiting on somebody to ask me a halftime performance question. Super Bowl could possibly come to Nashville in the next 3 to 5 years. We're getting a new stadium. And I have a dream that they do a country music themed halftime show. And maybe perhaps they'll let me just do a little 20 or 30 second thing in it. But I would love to see Tim McGraw. I'd love to see Garth Brooks. I would love to see Reba McEntire. I'd love to see Dolly Parton. I would love to see the country legends and some of the new dogs like Morgan Wallen, Hardy. I'd love to see some of the new Garner come in. So I think, yeah, that's my dream. Kenny Chesney, and maybe they let me come out and do a verse or something. But
Megan
Maroney, of course.
Langley.
Laney Wilson, all of our friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to see a country music themed halftime show that just kind of involved the whole.
If he's aware enough to dodge the ICE question, he's aware enough to know that that comment could be taken the wrong way. And look, feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Am I looking into it too much? Let me know. But here's why I give him the benefit of the doubt, right? He did end it by saying this.
And I have a lot to say about it, and I'm going to in the next week, and everybody's going to hear exactly what I have to say about it in the most loud and clear way I've ever spoken in my life. So I look forward. Thank you for bringing it up.
So with that, we'll see what he says that's so important that he couldn't say at the Grammys. I mean, maybe he'll say it at the Kid Rock Festival with his MAGA friends. Maybe that's a safe space. Now, the part of Jelly Roll's night getting the most praise is his acceptance speech.
That's why I wrote this album. I didn't think I had a chance, y'all. There was days that I thought the darkest things. I was a horrible human. There was a moment in my life that all I had was a Bible this big and a radio the same size and a 6x8 foot cell. And I believed that those two things could change my life. I believed that music had the power to change my life and God had the power to change my life.
And look, great speech. It's always dope when artists speak their truth at shows like Bad Bunny did, like Olivia Dean did, like Shabuzi did. But the contradiction goes back to his inability to speak on ICE. I mean, people have died at the hands of ICE raids. I literally saw a video today where they are still continuing to terrorize people in Minnesota. And I don't care if you don't have a phone, I don't care if you don't have social media, there's no way that you don't know that this is going on. And with the language that this administration is using, the way that they're talking, it's one thing to not comment about it, but it's another thing to pretend that you know nothing about it and refuse to speak on it on a big stage. I just feel like there's no way an artist of this level can claim that he didn't know because he didn't have a phone for 18 months. One comment summed it up perfectly. Living by Jesus's teaching means standing up for the vulnerable, and that should include speaking out against ICE. And you don't have to align with any political party to recognize when something wrong is happening. And Jelly Roll made it a point to throw in that Jesus doesn't belong to any particular political party.
And I want to tell y'all right now, Jesus is for everybody. Jesus is not owned by one political party. Jesus is not owned by no music label. Jesus is Jesus, and anybody can have a relationship with him. I love you, Lord.
And I think that's amazing that he got up on that stage and said that. But it can also be said you don't have to align with any political party to recognize that something wrong is happening out there. Jelly Roll had a chance to condemn what's happening. Instead, it came off like it doesn't affect me, I got nothing to say, while quietly aligning with people pushing those policies. And that creates a mixed message. That's just my thoughts on it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I know there's a lot to unpack when it comes to that. And again, I do want to say that from what I've looked up with Jelly Roll, I think that he's a good guy. And maybe, you know, this is one of those situations where he really wants to play the fence and everybody's not perfect. Maybe he doesn't know where he wants to line. But again, we are in a world right now where the most evil people use religion for theater. In this world, you have to start watching what people do and not what they say. Y'all let me know.
Fun to do bad things.
Take off the sweat, now take off the dope, take off the Birkin bag. Take all that designer bullshit off, and what do you have?